rossoneri, this is AC Milan Talk. We are ready for a new weekly episode, everything set with all the going song of our club. Here with me today, Sheridan Bird. Welcome, Sheridan.
Hi, Alicia. Nice to see you. Hi to everyone watching at home. Good to be back.
Here with us, not in the studio, but from Australia, Adriano Del Monte. Hi, Adriano.
Ciao, Alicia. Ciao, Sheridan. Wonderful to be back. And from another country in Australia, of course, home to many Milan fans. So, I mean, very, very happy back here in my home country.
How are you, Adriano?
I'm well. It's been a nice time back here with some family in Australia as well. I said Milan fans here who have been keen to chat about the club, chat about the show. I know they'll be watching very, very closely.
Well done, guys. So let's not waste any time. Let's talk about our men's first team. Our rossoneri claimed 3 massive points following a solid and mature performance, getting back to winning ways in Syria. Sheridan.
Exactly, you said it, massive 3 points, because it was so important to get back to the victorious path. And it was a tough match. The result could maybe be deceptive because the team had to work hard, had to show discipline, but it was a good, solid team performance, and it's the right direction for the team to travel in after a difficult phase. And this is the table. Licia and Milan still in there, 3rd place, obviously in the Champions League space. A nice gap between Milan and Roma. Too much of a gap for us between Milan and Inter and Juventus, but there's plenty of time to go. And those 3 points, as you said, were so crucial for the season.
Adriano, any comment about the game against Frosinone?
Well, we discussed coming in, didn't we, that there was an opponent in Frosinone that could not be taken lightly, that had scored a lot of goals this season, of attacking quality coming through. But it was great to see a couple of names on the sheet like Luka Jovic here getting a goal, and Christian Pulisic back amongst the goal scorers as well. So a wonderful touch there from Pulisic, bring down the main assist. Incredibly, he's now had 3 consecutive seasons. But look, it was a good performance, of course, under a lot of pressure, again, against an opponent who have scored plenty against a range of. We saw the standings there, and we know how important these points were because, of course, we know that there have been some key personnel out injured in recent weeks, and obviously to cover look 11, get the 3 points, 5 points clear of a 5th place in Napoli. There, it's look, I think it was an important and timely result. So very pleased, and now, of course, we go into an even bigger fixture this weekend.
On the match day -1, our head coach Stefano Pioli said we want to win and we need to, and they got it. So let's take a listen to our head coach post-match reaction after AC Milan versus Frosinone.
È un giocatore di livello e quindi quando mi ha dato la disponibilità di poter giocare in quel ruolo lì sapevo che l'avrebbe affrontato con la giusta concentrazione, con attenzione. Ha fatto molto bene, ma perché abbiamo lavorato tanto di squadra comunque senza palla contro una squadra che ha palleggiato molto bene, che ci ha fatto correre tanto, ma volevamo questa vittoria e bene che sia andata così. Siamo stati bravi e Mike in questo è molto bravo, ma anche per chiedere quella palla lì ci vuole il movimento il tempo giusto, gli avversari hanno provato a venirci a prendere, se ci vengono a prendere ci concedono qualcosa. Siamo stati bravi a leggere bene quella situazione, poi con 2 giocatori di qualità come Mike e Christian è ancora più facile centrare certe soluzioni.
What about this new for our formation, our rossoneri formation in Stefano Pioli's side?
It worked well, and as he said there, when you've got great players like Mike Maignan and Christian Pulisic, it always helps. And it was really good that Luka Jovic scored his first goal for Milan, because that was the Luka Jovic of Eintracht Frankfurt of a few seasons ago. We know he's struggled a little bit since with Fiorentina and Real Madrid, but that was a really good goal. It was a striker's goal. It was not an easy goal from Jovic, and that's the Jovic we want every week. I say it every week here that we're greedy. We want great performances and great goals every week, and that's the Jovic that I think Milan fans want to get used to. And I'm sure Adriano agrees with me.
Absolutely, of course. It is that depth, Sheridan, that we touch on quite regularly, that teams that are ultimately successful need it's not just the 11 on the park. So to have some different goals there, Pulisic, an important goal, timely goal for here as well. Really, really important, of course, with some players returning. There was a notable return at the weekend. I'm sure we'll touch on Benacer. Wonderful attack movements, which really impressed me at the weekend, and hopefully plenty more to come as we round out the calendar year.
The importance of Benacer's return on the pitch after 7 months, Sheridan.
It was so good to have him back because he adds order, he adds geometry, as we say here in Italy, to the central midfield. He just helps to build moves. He keeps possession, and sometimes in matches, particularly big matches, you need to keep hold of the ball, take the sting out of the game, take the momentum out of your opposition. And there is no one better, for my money, in Serie A, or few better in Serie A, maybe European football, than Benacer at controlling the rhythm and the tempo of a game, protecting the ball and spotting opportunities, also stopping attacks from other sides. We've spoken about Ismail. He's an all-round midfielder, and I'm sure Adriano agrees that his contribution will be so valuable now that he's back.
Certainly on the pitch, of course, Sheridan, you've hit the nail on the head there. What's a player in general, but obviously to return, very, very important for this team now going into this busy period. But aside from the on-field, it's the off-field. Look, it's never easy for a player in this game to have an extended period out on the sidelines. You saw the scenes, the emotion about this player's return. The fans know how important he is to the core of this team. And just the smile on his face as he came back out onto the pitch. We spoke about young Kamada making his debut a couple of weeks ago, and his smile when he entered. Benacer at a different stage in his career, but just that joy having overcome this very difficult. Now he's back amongst it. And obviously, take some time to find his best form and find his feet again. But the journey now is over, and now he can look forward to getting back on the pitch and read his name into the history books of this great club. I'm very excited for him and where he's at, and well done for him. And look, he's going to make this midfield and this team a lot better. How much better and how soon? Well, we've all got out. We can see the best Ismail Benacer very shortly.
We went to France to learn about Isma's roots. Let's check out extract a piece from this special interview.
C'est bon, 2009. Oh, 2009, frère.
2009. T'avais 12 ans.
No, j'étais petit. Avevo 12 anni, ma guarda come ero piccolo. Ma guarda, c'è una cosa che resta e che faccio ancora oggi, è il t-shirt con guanti. Qui è dove scendevo con la bici, con skateboard, con tutto che poteva scendere lo facevamo, giocavamo al pallone anche sul garage. L'abbiamo cambiato penso 2 o 3 volte. Questo non dovete farlo, però ma sì, quando ero piccolo ho lasciato mie iniziali. La prima porta magari sì, era questo, sai, prendevo un pallone, per esempio, con mio amico, non dobbiamo toccare il pallone a terra e poi mettere dentro la porta. Poi andavamo un po' più indietro, mettevamo ancora il pallone, andavamo un po' più indietro fino a qui. E questi erano i miei primi giochi. Giocavamo su questo perché qui non abbiamo avuto mai campo, quindi facevamo così e eravamo molto bene così. Qualche volta quando sono sul campo di allenamento guardo il logo e poi dico ma dai, gioco per il Milan, e poi penso a dove ero prima, cosa ho fatto, da dove vengo. Quando pensi a queste cose tu vuoi fare di più.
You can find the full version of this special interview on all our social media channels, including YouTube. A very emotional interview, Sheridan.
Wonderful to see. It's just lovely to see where he grew up. where he developed his technique, his skill, his first touch. Nice to see him with his family. Seems like a very well-balanced young man from a good background, which has obviously helped him in his professional career. And it's just the fact that he loves Milan, he loves the badge. He still can't believe that he's playing for the 7 times European champions. It's a really good example and a nice story. I'm sure Adriano was very impressed as well. It was very touching, wasn't it?
Very, very emotional, very touching. It's my favourite type of content to consume, that just seeing how humble the individual is, the mentality, never forgetting where he came from. Very, very special scenes. I'm definitely checking out the full version of that about it. But look, this is an individual who has the mentality of a champion. He touches on to do more. So very, very special and a great player to have in a great club.
The next action for Syria, the clash against Atalanta, even if our next opponents are counting different injuries, is a tough match. What do you think about Gasperini's side and their first part of the season?
Well, the facts are that Atalanta haven't won in their last 4 matches. Now, what you have to remember is that makes them dangerous because they'll be angry. They lost their most recent game against Torino 3-0, which is quite a heavy defeat for Atalanta, especially considering that they're a very good side these days. In fact, for the last 5 or 6 years under Gianpiero Gasperini, they've made real progress. So it's going to be a tough match. They're angry. They want to bounce back from a bad phase, and Milan will be in their sights. Milan are in their targets. So it's going to be a really tough match, a difficult challenge in a Champions League week. But, you know, as we often say, you want to play the good teams because you want to test yourself. And I'm sure Adriano agrees that Atalanta, they'll be hurting, they'll be wounded.
Well, it's a tough period for Atalanta. Always, for all these clubs, juggling Europeans with the domestic competition. Atalanta, to their credit, have found a way. I think everyone can be very impressed by what this club from the north of Italy have been able to do in Europe and in Serie A over recent seasons. But it does seem at the moment, with a couple of key injuries, Scamacca being the latest, who's now, I'm being told, is out for the rest of the squad is thin. They are there for the taking, but you are right, Shane. This is a team now that will want to respond, but it has to be looked at a match where it is an important 3 points. Of course, another team who are looking for European football next season. So this is really important in that race for the top 4, let's say, against a wounded opponent. I think, again, confidence off the back of that Frosinone result. Milan have to come in confident they can go there and get all 3 points. But we know there have been some really exciting matches between these two clubs in recent seasons.
Well, that's all for Pioli's side. Good luck to our Rossoneri. Let's move on to our women's team. Time to reflect and to prepare for the matchup against Roma, thanks to the international break for our Rossoneri.
Yeah, I mean, the players that stayed behind and didn't represent their national teams will have had a chance to keep working with the new boss, Mr. Corti, Davide Corti. So it's a good road test to have a look at the methods, the style, the tactics of this, let's say, new AC Milan Femminile. And it's a real challenge as well. And we've discussed this before. Playing Roma is always difficult. They're currently the best team, women's team in Italy. But it's another week, as I say, that Mr. Corti's had a chance to try and mould the players, to try and get his vision across. There he is, hard at work, and hopefully, slowly but surely, we will be able to witness the results of his work on the training ground in the winter sun. And who knows, maybe Roma might have more on their plate that they expected, because, like I say, Corti will have new ideas, fresh ideas, and I'm sure, as Adriano would agree, that it's a new challenge and a great challenge against Roma.
It is, Sheridan. I don't mind the opponent. Look, I think, I mean, we discussed this last week. Obviously, the international break has come and gone. Presents an opportunity to take on a top club, really, in a match with little pressure. Roma are they're favoured to win. They are favoured to win the whole league this season. They are playing Champions League football. They do have a lot going on. And I think it gives the new time to just instill his methods, the tactics, and take everything he wants to bring this team and bring them out of the difficulty they've faced in recent weeks. So I think that relaxed approach to this match, I think we will see a positive display, and obviously going into some very winnable matches with respect to the upcoming opponents going into the Christmas period, off the back of two competitive fixtures, really tough fixtures against Inter before the break and now Roma. So looking forward to this one, looking forward to seeing some improved performances, hopefully a result, but really I think this is a nice test before what's to come.
Sheridan, Adriano perfectly resumed his thought about the first part of the season for our Rossoneri. What about yours? Summary comment?
Well, you know, it would be dishonest if we said it went well, because it's gone. We know that it didn't go very well, and changes have been made. I don't think there's more than you can add, really. I think the table there, you know, we can see it in front of us, Licia and Adriano, that the table shows it. The table doesn't lie, as we say.
Yeah.
It's an international phrase. Everywhere they say it in football. The table doesn't lie. The numbers don't lie. But Milan have got a fresh start with Mr. Corti, and the future starts here, or rather starts for the next match for the Rossoneri. Archive the first half of the season because it's gone, can't do anything about it. Changes have been made, and the future's bright, hopefully, and that's the way I would approach it. Now starts the season for AC Milan women.
That's all for our Rossoneri. Let's move on to our under-19s. Talking about Primavera, the game against Lazio ended with a defeat for our youngest Rossoneri, but there's plenty of opportunities to bounce back. And now the next action, the next game at the Vismara against Genoa, Sheridan.
Yes, if we start with the game against Lazio, it was a very, very frustrating game, and you can see there the result, lost by the only goal of the game, which I'm sure we'll see the highlights very soon, but it was a horrible game, let's be honest. Tough place to go to travel down to play in the capital, and the defeat, as you can see in the table, it dropped Milan down to 4th place, which is in regard to the ability and the skill of this team do not belong in 4th place. And thankfully, the gap to the 2nd, 3rd and top team is fairly short. So I don't envisage Milan being in 4th place for very long, because that's a very false position. But it came on the back of a few negative results, the ones against Empoli and the one that we're yet to see against Lazio. They made it very hard for Milan. The goal was a deflection. It was a free kick that was given, and it was probably the only chance on target that Lazio had all match, and it comes off somebody in the wall. Have a look at this. You probably can't see from that angle, but it was a lucky goal. It was a fortuitous goal. And from that moment on, Lazio sat back and they defended, which is their right, don't get me wrong. They don't have to come out on attack, but they sat back, they stayed compact, frustrated Milan. They made the game, they made the conditions very difficult. They made it very, very hard for Milan. It wasn't glamorous football, it wasn't champagne or Prosecco football from Lazio, but it was effective football. And unfortunately, that was enough to take the result away from Milan, Adriano.
Well, you see how tight this competition is, Sheridan. The teams on any day, it does feel there is such quality across the board in this country. Really, anyone can beat anyone. And, well, look, Lazio did get that lucky goal. We're seeing the highlights here. There were a number of chances for Milan throughout. But also, Sheridan, I know you know very well, that's a very nice cross indeed there, though, but Sheridan, I know you know very well, but of course, given the injury situation with the men's first team, were a couple of notable players here who were unavailable for Mr. Abate, which obviously does hinder us not being at their very best. So a great performance against still a Lazio team who have been very strong. We see Lazio right up there in the standings, but looking to respond this weekend against the Genoa team who are in the bottom half of the table, but not too many points behind. So hopefully a big response this weekend.
A little preview comment before the Youth League for the final match against Newcastle. About this preview comment, even if our Rossoneri already reached the qualification for next round. Adriano, I would like to start with you.
Well, look, I think they'll still want to finish off very strongly in the Youth League. We know how successful the club were in the Youth League last season. And look, I think they've secured their progression through to the next stage. Weekend, I'm sure they'll want to respond domestically, but I think they'll want to end the Youth League group stage off on a high. So, look, I'm expecting a spirited display away from home, another opportunity to develop in an environment that will be very difficult. But look, it's been a great run on the Youth League front, and I'm very, very excited for what's to come in the second half. But Sheridan, of course, as we always discuss as well, juggling both competitions is never so easy for these young men.
Sheridan, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree completely. The team are through to the next stage of the UEFA Youth League. Another fabulous achievement, 2 seasons in a row. Have completely bossed that group, commanded the group. But why not finish on another victory? It won't be easy, playing against Newcastle United away from home. But the team have got the quality. And every time I watch this side in Europe, I'm impressed. I'm just more impressed by how they handle setbacks. They went a goal down against Borussia Dortmund, if you recall, in the last UEFA League match after 4 minutes, and then just bounced back with 4 goals in 15 minutes. So nothing phases them, nothing seems to stress them too much in the UEFA Youth League. So let's go out on another victory and really finish the group, dominate the group, and that will stand them in good stead for the knockout stage of the UEFA Youth League, which is where the real business begins.
Well, with this focus on our under-19s, we come to the end of this AC Milan Talk episode. I would like to say thank you to my two friends. Thanks to Adriano Del Monte.
Grazie, Licia. Always a pleasure.
And thanks to Sheridan Bird.
My pleasure. Thank you, Licia. Thank you, Adriano. Good day, mate.
Dear listeners, thanks for following us, and see you next week for a new episode of our AC Milan Talk. Ciao.